Now we have the president of baseball operations and general manager of the Cincinnati Reds, Mr. Walt Jocketty, is joining us. Thank you, Mr. Jocketty, for taking the time.
My pleasure, Matthew. Well, what an act to follow. I followed Tony Perez.
It's
Hall of Famer.
We got Steve Rogers right after you
really?
as well.
Great.
So yeah, you're sandwiched between a couple of great teammates.
Yeah.
Now, when was the last time you were back here?
I believe it was probably the last year, 2004. I'm sure I probably would have. I knew it was going to probably be closing down. That I probably came in here that last year. So it's coming back here was really has been a great experience. You know, the town is. We had a great day yesterday. A little different weather today, but we had a great day yesterday to be able to be downtown, walk around, and walk down by the river and so forth. It was just a gorgeous day. Today, you get a nice contrast from the weather we had in Arizona for the last 6 weeks.
Now, why was it important for the Reds to come here?
Well, I'll tell you that our guys really had, first of all, we thought it was good to get out of Arizona early, play in a different environment. But for a lot of reasons, the guys, I think, felt last night that this was more like opening day. This is getting us really kind of a dress rehearsal for the opening of the season. The large crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, enthusiasm. And, we get back into the Eastern time zone. We get that big trip out of the way. And, we're only a couple-hour flight back to Cincinnati tonight after the game. So it's a lot of good positives for us. But, and getting a chance to play a different club, I think it just feels more like the regular season rather than spring training for our guys.
Alex Anthopoulos has mentioned that it's great to get his young guys sort of a baptism by fire, playing in front of a large crowd. Was that another consideration?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we brought a lot of young guys to back up. And the guys will be at AA, AAA, and maybe a couple of guys in high A. But it's tremendous experience for them to see what it's like to play in front of a crowd like this. And this doesn't happen. We're playing in front of anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 or 8,000 in spring training. So this was a really great experience for them.
What did you think of yesterday's pregame ceremonies and the overall mood?
Well, I think the pregame ceremonies were fantastic, and it was great to see Orlando Cabrera, as we had him a few years ago,
right.
And a great teammate for us. But it was just, the electricity in here. Like I said, it was really invigorating, and you couldn't help but get excited. And the promoters that put this on have done an excellent job. And sold a lot of tickets, and it shows that there's certainly a lot of baseball fans in Montreal, and this is still a good baseball city.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What did you hear of how it went last year, the talk about Montreal, and has anything affected you this weekend, seeing the response so far?
Well, actually, I wasn't really aware of it last year at the time, but when Paul Beeston called me last fall and asked if we'd be interested, and he told me the reception that they had here and the enthusiasm and the number of tickets that were sold and everything, it sounded like it was something we'd definitely be interested in. So, and getting here and seeing what it was all about, it's just been fantastic. And I really do hope that they make some efforts, some strides to bring baseball back here someday.
We're chatting with Walt Jocketty, the president of baseball operations and general manager of the Cincinnati Reds, right here on TSN 690. Reds versus Jays coming up at 1 o'clock. You have some players of great interest here north of the border. We'll start with Joey Votto. What are you looking for him to do this year?
Well, number one for Joey is to stay healthy and get a full year in. And if he does, then I expect Joey to get back to the levels that he was at before. He'll hit over 300 and drive in a lot of runs and hit some home runs, play Gold Glove defense, and be a real force in our lineup. And that's what we need from Joey. And I think what we've seen in spring training, Joey seems healthy and headed in the right direction. So it's important that we have him in our lineup every day.
Were there any thoughts that you're aware of from him in terms of coming north of the border to play? It's not Toronto for him, certainly, but...
Well, he enjoyed it. I mean, it's he's going to get a chance to go home tomorrow, I think, spend the day with his family and then come to Cincinnati tomorrow night, I believe, and be ready for opening day. So, but I know he loves coming up here. He spent the entire winter in Toronto this year, which is different for him. He had a home in Florida where he spent the off seasons in the past between Cincinnati and Florida. But this year he spent it all in Toronto and kind of got reconnected with the city and with his family and so forth, and it was very good for him. So I know he was excited about coming up here.
Chad Wallach, famous last name, not because of Eli Wallach, the actor, but Tim Wallach, the great, of course, third baseman of the Expos. It's his son.
Right.
Tell us about Chad Wallach.
Well, Chad was a guy we got in a trade with, along with today's starter, Anthony DeSclafani, from the Marlins for Matt Latos. And DeSclafani was obviously the main player in the trade, but we were looking for a complementary player to get in the trade as well, and we looked at a number of guys. We really liked the reports we had on Chad. A couple of our scouts that were in the suite in San Diego when we had our meetings, I had seen a lot of him and really liked him. And I'll tell you what, we have been absolutely thrilled with him. We brought him to spring training and Major League camp. He's going to play at Daytona, our new high A affiliate in the Florida State League, and be an everyday catcher there. But he also played very good at first base. And the one thing we did see is he can swing the bat. He's going to hit for power, and he's developing as a catcher. Mike Stefanski, who's our catching coordinator at the Major League level, was very happy with him and saw a lot of progress in him. So I would expect he'll be a Major League catcher one day.
And then finally, expectations for the Reds this year. This is a market in Montreal that doesn't have a team at the moment, so you have fans that some root for the Blue Jays, some root for some of the big markets like New York and Boston, but there are some fans that root for Joey Votto north of the border. Tell us what the Reds what you expect them to do this year.
Well, I'll tell you, we have a very tough division. It's a very balanced division. You know, St. Louis has won it the last couple of years, and they again, I think, are favored to win, but Pittsburgh has improved. The Cubs have improved, and Milwaukee is always a viable contender. So it's going to be tough. I don't think. I think it's going to be very balanced. I think that the team that stays healthy and plays consistently is going to win the division, and I think we are very capable of that. We got hurt by injuries last year. If we can stay healthy, I really like our chances in this division, and hopefully, we had a tough 2012 in the playoffs where we thought we were going to get deeper. We didn't, and we need to get back. I know a lot of our guys are motivated to get back to that level.
Walt Jocketty of the Cincinnati Reds, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, anytime.